And we're back. You are listening to the Exitology Unlock Your Profits, Unlock Your Potential show on the #1 global talking news network on the internet, IBGR, International Business Growth Radio, the world of business at your fingertips. Folks, thanks for hanging with us with a couple technical difficulties here. You are listening, of course, to the Exitology Unlock Your Profits, Unlock Your Potential show, and we've been talking about creating lasting value, even in a challenging economy. And I'm joined today by Rex Wisehart, who really is, he's a turnaround artist, but almost like a secret agent in a certain way. And if you've listened to the first 2 episodes, you've heard some stories about how he got started becoming an entrepreneur and some of the crazy turnarounds that he did. Crazy to us normal folks, just a day's work for Rex. And he talked about starting a company, the importance of, getting the right founders in place as a foundation, really what to expect from an employment situation, as far as like the employment churn, especially at the beginning. And then more importantly, what does a successful startup look like? And we didn't get to dive as far into that as we wanted, but suffice it to say, have a good capital stack on one hand, have good people who can actually come up with good ideas, but much more importantly, people who can bring the ideas to life. Because as we all know, everybody has an idea about how many people can actually make it happen. And so Rex, with that, I want us to bring back in, let's bring everybody back into, now that we've gone from startup, what does it look like to go to growing a company? What does it look like to scale a company? Because as a turnaround artist, you saw a lot of that too.
You do. Any company that's going to grow needs at least 3 types of people.
Okay.
A visionary, 1 or more rainmakers, and who knows how many baggage handlers.
Yeah.
And way too often when companies get started, they have too many people who think they're visionaries, too many people they think they're rainmakers, and way not enough baggage handlers.
So tell us about that, especially in this day and age. We are here having this conversation to be pushed out onto the internet where there's a lot of people who think that they are the next Steve Jobs or the next Elon Musk or the next this, that, and the other. And as someone who employs people and also works with companies who employ lots and lots of people, I'll tell you, there's a lot of people out there that think that they're the visionary, but they should be a baggage handler.
Oh, baby. Are they ever?
How do you deal with that?
There's basically 2 of those things, Wally.
Uh-oh.
There's that one.
Am I there?
And then there's the company that the founder thinks that they can be a lone wolf and do it by themselves. Both of them are bad.
So take us through some scenarios where you might have walked into too many chiefs and not enough Indians, and you walked out of there with enough baggage handlers to actually make this stuff work.
Well, let's start with sort of the foundation of a company that's going to grow, and that's the contracts that you win, right?
Yep.
Don't make the contract so complicated that you can't perform on them, because that's easy to do, especially if you're a startup and you're going and selling something to a bigger company that knows more about how to perform and make money than you do, and they make the contract so tough there's no way you can win.
Okay.
Way too many startup founders have no clue of the bad contracts that they're getting started in that really take away their probability of success. You got to watch out for things like that if you've never been an entrepreneur before, you have no idea what's coming on your way.
So I want to stop you there, because that's a great callback to a previous episode that we had here. We had Christine McKay of Venn Negotiation on here about 6 months ago, and for my listeners, I'd like you to think about intersecting this interview with Rex with what Christine shared, because I love that you're going there, Rex, because the rainmaker can get you into a bad situation there, and you end up in this David versus Goliath contract negotiation, and that one big whale client that you were celebrating at the end of last year with champagne, now you're celebrating on the breadline the next year, and that is not good for anybody.
It's not, which brings me up to another point, and that is, don't let any customer have too much of your pie.
Absolutely. We talk about that a lot too. We call that client concentration risk.
Okay.
And
You have these sophisticated words. I'm just this farm kid from Indiana.
well,
So
but
I just use it a piece of pie.
but you know, but it's important. I think I love that you're saying that because, you know, the reason is because there's a lot of folks who we serve in that industrial, in that, you know, custom manufacturing, those types of spaces. And here's how it'll go down. And I'm sure you've seen this. It looks like a business. It smells like a business. It has a building and it has a manufacturing facility like a business. It has baggage handlers running around like a business. And then when you peel back the onion, you find out there's four customers that make up 80% of this business. And those customers are named Boeing and two other, you know, giant companies that get shut down when something like COVID happens. And it turns out that you don't have a business, right? You don't.
Absolutely. That's not the making of a real business. You know,
No.
I ran a consulting company, which is way different than most of what your clients do, Wally.
Right.
I had a hard and fast rule in my consulting business that no one would ever make up over 30% of my sales.
Yeah. And
Period.
yeah, I want everybody out there to hear that loud and clear, because we come across a lot of folks who have 40, 50, 60% of their business. And that becomes a very important piece of work that we all have to work on together to get that back under 30%. And you can only grow your way out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And if you've got one client that's 63% of your business, you're not sleeping. And
No.
you're not having any fun, and your family's unhappy.
Right.
And you've got to cure that, or sooner or later you will lose. It may be later, but you will lose.
Yep, absolutely. So going back to some of these other mistakes that you see people when they're growing a company, if they've moved past that, you know, what we call client concentration risk, what you call, you know, having way too much percentage in a single client, what are some other mistakes that you see people making as they try to grow and scale a company?
A CEO only has two jobs. CEOs think they have lots of jobs, but they only have two. One is to be the public face of the company.
Okay.
And that can mean lots of things. That can mean you're the one quoted in the newspaper, you're the one raising the money, it can be lots of things, but you have to be the public face of the company. And two, and way more important than one, is that your job is to be the ultimate support person for all the people that work in the company.
That is beautiful. That is beautiful. And I don't know how widespread that little piece of information is out in the marketplace.
It's not, I can tell you.
I'm going to throw kind of a grenade in your direction here and ask your opinion on something. If that's
Go for
it. I was, and it's definitely around what you said is job number two, way more important, which is to support everybody in the company. I was sharing with some other CEOs something that I saw 10 years ago.
Hello.
You guys, I'm sorry, I got disconnected there.
Okay, you're back.
Let me know if I'm back. So, all right, we've got about 2.5 minutes to cover the rest of this, folks. I'm sorry about all the technical issues today. I watched the CEO about 10 years ago draw their org chart when we asked him to show what it looked like, and she, how she drew the org chart was herself as the root, as if you had a tree, and then all of the organization grew out from her vision and her foundation. And I thought that was really interesting because it was very different than how most males would do it. And so I wanted to kind of get your perspective on that, especially in context of the most important aspect is being supportive. What do you think about that?
I think that I've never seen an org chart drawn like that, but I like it, and I'd love to meet the person who did it.
Yeah.
And love to talk with them about it. I think that's an interesting way to think about growing your company, and it sounds like a really good idea to me.
Yeah, and for the folks listening, it was a turnaround, and she took the reins, and it got turned around and it went from startup to sustainable, and has grown ever since, including through the COVID situation.
I'm not surprised.
So, well, I really like that. So the CEO's job is publicly face the company and to support everybody that's involved in bringing forth the company's mission and vision. Got about a minute left here, so tell us something else. What else do folks often miss that's hidden in plain view about growing a company?
Never eat alone.
What's that mean?
Means that you need to be out networking all the time. And at the time I was a bachelor, but I had a rule that I would only eat 3 meals alone in a week. But I was out there building a network. And I'm lucky enough that I built a huge network that I've done very well with. Thank you very much. I have 44,000 people that I've personally met, sometimes on the phone, but usually in person in my database. Yes, a lot of them are dead or retired or something, but I can tell you what happened in a meeting on January 14th, 1977, and whenever since. And I think that's very important, to build a network and then keep a history of what the hell you've done and who you've done it with and the conversations that you've had.
Yeah, well, thanks for sharing that here as we kind of wrap up growing a company here today. Folks, apologize about all the technical issues, but you know what? When you're talking to somebody who was receiving telegrams in one of their first turnarounds, that's going to happen, and you hang in there for the wisdom. So that's what we're doing here today. You've been listening to the Exitology Unlock Your Profits, Unlock Your Potential show. Assuming that your internet connection is working, you can hit up exitology.com and click Contact Us. Send in a question. We'll answer it on a future episode. We'll be right back with you after 2 minutes and messages from our sponsors. Thank you.